All right, guys, my name is Solomon Jagwe. I am back with another quick insight. So today we're going to be talking about the Unreal Engine 5.8 and this amazing new feature. I am moving this MetaHuman using my body. This is markerless motion capture technology without gloves. I don't have gloves in my hands. I don't have a motion capture suit. I don't have a head-mounted camera rig, guys, and yet you're able to see my lips moving. You can see me turning my head, blinking, and I can even floss if you want. So the reason why I'm doing this part is I want to show you how to clean up the mocap. Should there be like some penetration, like when the hands go back and forth like this, then you're able to correct it. Beastie over here wants to say something.
Yes, my name is Beastie. And that is beauty. Yeah. Yeah. You guys don't take me seriously. So I keep telling you.
Yeah, Beastie wanted to tell you something because he says this is free. Don't forget that, okay? I am beauty and he's the best.
Go ahead, Beastie. Tell them.
Yes, my name is Beastie. Yes, I am from Character Creator, but originally I used to be a DAZ 3D character. Now look at me now. Well, I am going to be playing a role. Yes, I've got a job and I'm going to be able to act as a sci-fi hero looking for my home. Yep, this is all free. You can do it too. Yes, sir. I am Beastie, and that is beauty. You get Beauty and the Beast. That's me.
But this is amazing in the Unreal Engine 5.8, and this technology originally used to be called MESHCAPADE, and Epic Games acquired MESHCAPADE, and we have the technology now inside of the Unreal Engine for free, which is amazing. So my encouragement to you guys that if you're a filmmaker, if you're an indie filmmaker, if you have a story that you want to tell, that this is one way for you to be able to do this. That if you don't have a motion capture suit, if you're on a budget and you want to tell a story, that you can use the Unreal Engine. Remember, the Unreal Engine is free. This motion capture data that you see without the gloves, without the motion capture suit, without a head-mounted camera rig, all of it is free, guys. So you're able to create animation for your characters, for your short film, and you'll be able to walk around. So if you are going to be recording in a space like this, make sure that you light it really well. So I'm going to put on the screen, I'm going to show you on the screen what my setup looks like. And if you want to, I'll put some, affiliate links, blink, blink, hint, hint, affiliate links of these lights. So, you can support a brother out there, right? So we're in this together. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. All right, guys, let me walk you through how to use the new MetaHuman Animator Markerless MOCAP technology that has been introduced in the Unreal Engine 5.8. And this technology was based on MESHCAPADE, which is an amazing platform that used to be online that Epic Games acquired, that takes footage and then you're able to extract motion capture data out of it, right? So these guys that you just watched in the opening videos are different character types. So this one is a MetaHuman. That is a regular MetaHuman that you would see in a typical, MetaHuman creator result. And this one is a custom MetaHuman that was created based on a mesh that was extracted from outside. So there's another new feature introduced in the Unreal Engine 5.8 that makes it possible for us to convert any character mesh into a MetaHuman. On the right hand side over here is a Character Creator 5 model. This is a CC5 HD model that supports MetaHuman Animator. So the reason I'm doing this is so that you see how versatile this data is, that can be applied to different character types. Okay, now the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you have the Unreal Engine 5.8 installed. This is a new one. I was using the preview version when I did the first test, but this has been fully released officially. And when you do install it, make sure you go to options as well, drop down under the launch go to options and make sure the MetaHuman creator core data is installed. This is extremely important that you make sure that this is installed. Without it, you won't be able to do what we're about to do. All right, so once that is installed, start the Unreal Engine 5.8 and you end up, you know, a scene that is probably blank, but this is more of what I was able to set up. Okay, another thing that you're gonna need is you need to go to your plugins, go to edit, plugins over here, and search for MetaHuman up at the top. So click on all plugins and then up at the top type in MetaHuman. Okay, so make sure all of these are installed. Every single one of them are running correctly. There's the MetaHuman creator plugin over there, and then the plugin that we're using is called MetaHuman Animator Markerless Motion Capture. Where again, this is experimental, so I know this is gonna get better and better as the Epic Games team puts in more effort from the feedback that they get from us. So continue testing it, guys. The more you test it, the better that they will be able to make it. Okay. So in order for this to show up, to be installed, you need to go to Fab. So go to your launcher over here and go to Fab, or you can even go to the browser and type in fab.com. And over here, you can see new from MetaHuman. It's going to be one of these highlights. So just click on that. And under here is where you're going to find all the cool new things. So one thing that I wanted to point out, by the way, is that we have new clothes. So if you have no clothes, or if you don't have money to buy new MetaHuman clothes, which are available in Fab, you can start with this new bundle that they've just added. Previously, the ones that were given to us for free was this one down here. It's the techwear outfit. But guess what, guys? With the release of Unreal Engine 5.8, more have been added. Like you got Oxfords over here, shoes, pants. We saw these in the online version that has since been deprecated. So they brought them so they can be part of the new MetaHumans. Okay, now this is the plugin that you need. So click on that and you can see it's called MetaHuman Animator Markerless Motion Capture plugin. And if you haven't added to your library, it won't show up as view in launcher. But once you click on add to library, then you'll be able to see it. So click on add to library, and then you can see it in the library over here. When you add it to the library, it's gonna go to your Fab library that you can see on the Epic Games launcher. Okay, so let's minimize that. So when you install it, it should come up here in Fab. If it doesn't, make sure you click on refresh, and then up here type in MetaHuman, and it's gonna be up here. If you see this icon right here, that means that it has been updated. So make sure that you update it. So over here, pay attention to these dates. So June 17th is when it was released. If you keep checking this area, you'll be able to see when there's a new update. And when there's a new update, make sure you update it as well. So you can see here, it says install to plugin. The same thing that you see right there. If you go to your library, to the Unreal Engine tab over here, you can click on install to engine. So click that and it will show up as install plugin, add to 5.8, and go ahead and click on install. And it will be added to your engine. You can see it being initialized over here, and you can also track it over here on the left hand side, and it will show you when it's being initialized. Okay, so this is important. Give it time to finish installing completely. Once the plugin is installed, you're gonna need footage. Okay, and the way I was able to shoot mine, I'll show you the picture over here of my setup. I have two lights on the left and right, and in the center is my iPhone that I'm using to record, but you can also use your Android phone or even your webcam. Okay, and give yourself enough space to be able to move around. And because this only captures from the front view when it comes to facial animation, you have to pay attention to make sure you face the camera if you want your dialogue to be captured with the facial animation. Because once you turn around, you can only capture the body, but you won't be able to capture the face. Okay, so for the body, you're able to capture when you turn around, but the face, you have to be facing the camera for that to work. Okay, so that's like a tip. And so I was able to record 3 videos in this setup, and I was playing 3 characters. Okay, so the first one is this character right here, which is a female astronaut. This character who's a unique custom MetaHuman that was converted using the MetaHuman creator from a standard mesh that was coming from character creator. And then this is a character creator 5 HD model that supports facial animation, right? So when I play back, you can actually see the motion capture data applied, and all of that data came from the videos that I was sharing with you. This one's right here. So if I open one of them, you can see me walking back and forth, right? So at the beginning, I clap my hands to give myself a timer to be able to line up the lip movement with the body. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you don't have a clapper, if you have a clapper, like, you know, the ones they use in Hollywood to start a scene for the director to use, you can use that. But for me, I just used clapping my hands, which is a simple, you don't have to pay for that. Just clap and it will still do a good job. But what I did also is I also added a microphone, a wireless microphone, and that wireless microphone, you can actually see the receiver attached to my iPhone right there. You can see it right there. So that's the one that's receiving the audio. It's important to have good audio if you want to make like a convincing like short film. And so I did 3 parts. You could do multiple parts. It doesn't have to be just 3. But just remember that in these early stages of the MetaHuman Animator Markerless motion capture plugin, it can only capture 1 character at a time. But with MESHCAPADE, and this is my hope, because when I look at MESHCAPADE, I see 1 character and then I also see 2 characters, which means that the MESHCAPADE team is going to be able to bring the same capability into the MetaHuman Animator Motion Capture plugin. And I'm excited for that we'll be able to do 2 characters one time. Right now, again, it's in the early stages, so we can only do 1 at a time. So if you're planning out your short film, try to play the 3 parts, or you can have another person play those parts, but make sure you have a good microphone, good lighting, right? And make sure that you plan it out so that you have a timer at the beginning and the end, so you know the length of time that your script is going to be. You can, it doesn't have to even write out the script for all 3 parts, 2 parts if you have 2 characters or more than that. For me, what I did was I shot in 4K. You know, I wanted to make sure the quality was great, but you also can shoot in 2K because that might actually mean less time processing. But I just wanted to be able to use this footage for other purposes. So for now, I wanted to make it 4K, right? So when you're ready, make sure that this folder, you copy the link from the address bar up at the top, because you're going to need that, okay? Then in the Unreal Engine 5.8, make sure again you have the Unreal Engine 5.8. It is, if you go to help and about Unreal Editor, you can see this is 5.8.0. Make sure you have that, okay? Make sure the plugins are installed. Now, go to Tools up here, and under when you scroll all the way down under Tools, start the ingest server. This is going to be the server that is going to bring in all the footage so that you can process it for it to end up in the MetaHuman Animator plugin. Okay, click on ingest server and you can actually see it over here. Okay, and then go back to Tools and click on Live Link Hub. Now the Live Link Hub is the new way for the Unreal Engine to handle all manner of footage, right? It can come from an iPhone, from Live Link Fence, or it can come from footage like pre-recorded footage or a webcam. All right, so we need to go to up here under live data, drop that down, go to Capture Manager, and under Capture Manager we need to click on Add and bring up Mono Video Ingest, because this is pre-recorded video, and then click on Mono Video Ingest over here. Give it a name, make it descriptive, because when you're searching for this file, it will be much easier to find this way. So for me, I'm just naming it like video underscore mocap, and then underscore, like for example, C1, That's for the first character, but this is really for ingesting all the footage, right? And then up here on the tech directory, this is where you need to find the folder where all your footage is, and click on that. And I'm gonna paste the link here in the address bar, and then select folder. And it's gonna go through and find all the videos. Now, because I shot it on my phone, it came in sideways, but no need to worry, because there's a feature in here that enables you to rotate the video. Okay, let me actually scale this so you can actually see more of the features. So we're gonna do one video at a time and click. So you're gonna select the video for starters. This is the main one, that is the long one of me talking. Click add to queue, and then when you select the video over here, under image rotation, you can do 270 degrees, because it's gonna rotate it 90 degrees, another 90 degrees, and another 90 degrees. 390 degrees make 270. So depending on your orientation, yours might not even need to have this orientation, or rather rotated, because it's already perfect. But for me, mine needed to be rotated. That's why this came in. So it was 270 degrees. It was able to make it like portrait again. And do the same for all the other videos. Just add them to the queue, and also each one of them go through again. If it's needed, you can do clockwise 270 degrees. Do the same thing here, and then clockwise. So when the video is recorded in HD, you won't have any issues with this image pixel format. But if it's not, then you may have to change some of these settings. But for now, this should work fine. And really, this is what needs to be done to be able to process all these videos, because once they are processed, you'll be able to then load them in the MetaHuman Animator. And when you're ready, after you've added all of these, then you can click on start, and then it will start processing these videos one by one. If you only have one video, then just process that one video. Okay, when all of this is done, when all of these videos are processed, you can minimize this or close it, or actually close it, because you won't need to come back here unless if you have more videos to process, depending on how many characters that you wanted to process. And for me, it was 3. Okay, now for me, I have a folder called MetaHuman Animator over here, and I made a sub folder called video body, and under that it's like this space scene. And so I started off with creating 3 different types. That's why I was saying it's extremely important for you to have, when you go to edit plugins, it's important for you to have all these MetaHuman features installed, because if you don't, then you won't be able to get that this. When I right click in the folder here where I'm going to be putting all my animation, when I right click on it, if you don't see this right here, MetaHuman, that means you've not yet fully installed all the things that you need to for this to work. Okay, but when you're ready, you can click on MetaHuman and then go to MetaHuman Performance over here, and then give it a name. So I'm just going to do a quick one called Demo over here, and double click on it. And then in here, let me show you the ones that I've already done. And there are different ways to do this, okay? Under here, so with Beastie over here, this was the first one with the character on the left. You can actually see her there. I made sure to select the video that I needed. So here under monocular footage, you can see that different, there's depth footage, audio, and then monocular. We need to be using monocular footage. And then down here, this is a folder where all the videos that were processed, from the Live Link Hub are added, and they are put in here. So you can actually see Beauty, well, it's Beauty and the Beast. And then this is the main one. This is Beastie over here, right? So in order for that to work, go to Demo over here. It's gonna look like this when you first start. Make sure again you select monocular footage over here and drop down, and then try to, like, if you named your folder correctly, that's what I was trying to point out, that make sure you give it a really good name that's easy to remember. So for example, Beastie, I'm gonna do like a BISTI, and when you are ready, just click on it, and you can actually, when you play back this video, you can actually see me stepping back over there, And this gives me an opportunity for me to either trim this, but what I've learned from the test that I've done is that if you trim it, the audio, when you import the audio into the sequencer, it's not going to line up. So even though it looks like you're right close to the camera, don't take it out, leave it in there, and allow this audio to line up with the motion capture data. Okay, you can trim the data later on in the sequencer, but when you're processing it here, don't trim it, just leave it there. And even maybe like towards the end, because you want to have that audio to be line up. And you can see me peeling out the part of this, like the monster. Be as creative as you want. For me, I was having fun with this because I had imagined a quick story of these three friends that are in a space station somewhere. And actually that space station is free, and it's one of those free items that you get every month from the Fab, the Unreal Engine Marketplace, which is called Fab now. And so you can start a short film even with all the free content that you can find on Fab over here. Like if you go to, let's close this and go to Fab over here. This over here on the featured free content, there's so many cool things that they usually give out. For example, this Powell docs, if you click on that, this is free. This is totally free. You could actually create your scene around this using a MetaHuman, using the MetaHuman Animator motion capture plugin, which is free, to be able to create a short film. You may be even just wanting to create an idea that you want to pitch to an art director or someone who is interested in learning about your story, and maybe get some funding somehow. Okay, but start with these things without having to pay a lot of money. This is free, and I think this is the advantage of using the Unreal Engine, is that all of these are free. For it's not, you don't have to, it's not like you're paying online for every single generation. Okay, and consider this is over 6,000 frames. That will be a lot of data to try to process online on some of the online platforms that are processing motion capture data, and at most they will give you like 2 minutes as of the recording of this video, and maybe in the future it will be longer, but this is all being done locally. Okay, so this is the footage over here. By the way, over here on the right hand side, if you don't see a body or like an indication of a skeleton of some kind, just know that you've not selected the body yet. So right now we're only doing facial. This is the one that is pre-selected. Let me actually expand this so you can see more of it. So by default, the facial animation is going to be the one that's going to be tracked, because that's what we used to know the MetaHuman Animator for. But now it's going to be known for tracking the body as well. So when you click on body over here, allow it so you can actually see it added a skeleton over here. And one thing that I want to point out is that because again I'm not wearing a head-mounted camera rig, so my face is not right there close to the camera, where like the way we used to use the MetaHuman Animator, it was right there, it was close to your face. So what they've done under the facial tracking over here, there's under the advanced settings, you can see it right here. And if you scroll all the way down under facial models, there's going to be different types over here, right? So the one that you need to be using is small face detector, because the face is small. This is what is ingenious, and I'm so grateful to the team from MESHCAPADE joining Epic Games, because all these things are coming to the Unreal Engine for free. So make sure that for the face detector you're using small face detector, and also for the face solver you're using small face solver. Okay, if you don't see these two options, if you don't see those options right there, make sure under the content folder over here on your Unreal Engine, over here with the content browser, under here in the settings, make sure that you enable engine content. So developer content, engine content needs to be made active over here. Then you'll be able to access those features that are in here. Okay, for the facial models, the ones that I was referring to over here. So this is going to be crucial for you to track the small face. But if you are using the MetaHuman Animator plugin with a head-mounted camera rig data that you're using your live link face, for example, then you don't need to use the small face detector, because the face is going to be close to the camera. Okay, Now this right here, if you wanted, you could actually do the visualization object over here, which is what I was able to do like over here. So you can see the character, that's the visualization character enabled over here, and I was able to select a BP Kira. By the way, just something to keep in mind, if you don't see this option, like when you drop down, you can see all the MetaHumans that you have in your MetaHuman folder. They will show up here as BP underscore, right? If they're not showing up, it's because you only have the facial tracking enabled. They only show up when you have body tracking enabled as well. And I've also done auto body height enabled over here, and I've also enabled foot locking for that. Okay, and here I'm not gonna again trim, because for me, when I was planning this out, I wanted to make sure the audio matches the length of the mocap for the face and the body. Okay, and then up at the top, things to keep in mind is that I want to solve the tongue, because when the tongue is moving, it's actually going to add a lot of realism to the shot, to the facial animation, and this tongue movement is derived from the audio file. That's why it's so important to have a good audio source. And if you can afford this wireless microphone, and I'll put a link in the description of this video if you want to buy this microphone for the one that I used, because you can hear the quality, and also a link to the lights that I was able to purchase. Okay, and so it's important to have good lighting and a good microphone for the good audio for this. Okay, so there's our demo over here. When you're ready, again, this is optional. What I discovered in my testing is that when I don't add the visualization object, it actually moves faster. So this main solo over here, you notice that it doesn't have a visualization object, but think about it. This is 11,000 frames. That's a lot of talking. And that's the value again of this new plugin and the MetaHuman Animator, is that this is done locally. I would have had to pay a lot of money trying to process that online. It would take a very long time. So if you have a long take where you've been talking for a long time, or your actor is going to be introducing maybe like a speech, like a hype speech or whatever, like how like in Avatar when Jake Sully is talking to the Navi, oh, we gotta go call the people, tell the bad people, tell all of them. It's gonna be a long take. This is where you need to not have a visualization object. Here, I noticed that when I have a visualization object, it took forever. It took a long time to process, because it was this is 6,000, almost 7,000 frames. But because again, I didn't have that here, it was able to process much quicker. So my recommendation is, if you really don't need to see it, because the data is going to look good regardless. So just go ahead and process when you're ready. And once it's processed, then you'll be able to export the data. And you can also crop. If you just need a portion of this again, make sure at least you leave the front open, because we have that clapper at the beginning that's going to help you to line up the audio and the full body. All right, so click on process, and when it's processed, you'll be able to export the animation over here. Okay, and I'll give you an example. So for example, here you can see all this is processed, and it takes about 5 steps to process. So you're gonna have to allow it, maybe grab a cup of coffee, go eat dinner, work out, do whatever you need to do, but let the system go through from beginning to end, and make sure you have enough space on your hard drive as well, so you don't run out of space mid processing of your data. And my recommendation would be that have this on an SSD drive for speed, and also for like the space. Okay, so when you're done processing all of this, and I'll show you the other files. So this is the one with the visualization object over here. You can actually see it looks different, but the data is actually going to be similar. It's all going to be MetaHuman Animator data that you can apply to a character. So even though this one looks like this, it's still going to work as good as this, because I didn't add something over here, right? And then when you're ready, just click export animation over here, and just put it in the same. For me, I'm putting it in the same folder, and you can actually see them over here saved. So just give it, like for example, if I put a name 2 over here and press save, you're gonna get this option right here. Just leave them as they are, the default, and then go ahead and create. It's gonna go through and save a sequence of that animation, and then you're ready to actually apply it to a MetaHuman. Okay, this part of, again, depends, it's gonna depend a lot on the speed of your computer, guys. And so the value of, again, when in the past when you had to process animation data online, it was because you were relying on the infrastructure of what those companies are providing, you know, that so that you can process the mockup online. But this is giving you the opportunity to do this locally. However, your machine is also going to play a big role on how fast this is done. If you have like 11,000 frames to process, trust me, it's going to take a while. But if you have a fast machine, and my machine is pretty powerful, I'll put the link so you can see what the specs are. That's important to take into consideration, that when you are starting out, try to do shorter clips, you know, so that you can see it's even worthwhile. Now, the data is not going to be perfect, guys. I just want to emphasize that because this is in early stages, and as you can see, when we went to the plugins over here and we looked at the MetaHuman Animator plugin, the Markerless one, what did it say? It says experimental. So this is experimental, which means they're still working on it. It's not production ready. So just extend a little bit of grace to the team, the Epic Games team, as they're working out the kinks. But it's important to provide feedback as well. The more we test it, the better it's gonna get, you know, as time passes. Okay, so the data is gonna have a little bit of foot sliding here and there. Those are things, again, that are gonna be worked out during down the road. And the good thing is that once this data is applied to the MetaHuman characters, you can still edit them. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize that. Let me actually close it. Okay, so this is an example of a sequence where the data has been applied to the characters, and you can actually see what I was talking about is that there's a little bit of foot sliding, like, see that right there? This is to be expected because it's, again, this is new technology that's being incorporated into the Unreal Engine. Some characters are pretty stable, but you can still see a little bit of movement. Now, for me, again, down the road, I'm going to do another tutorial, show you how I'm able to clean up this mockup data. But I wanted to show you how to clean it up once you get to the Unreal Engine. Okay. All right. But first, let me show you how to add this to a MetaHuman. So let me pause this. I'm going to close this. Let me close that sequence. And we have the characters over here ready for animation. And again, you're going to have to go to your MetaHuman folder and find your MetaHumans. So go to MetaHumans, pick up any MetaHuman that you've made and then drop it in here, and then you'll be able to use it. Okay. So because I played 3 parts, I wanted to show you how I was able to apply the data to the different characters over here. And the good thing is that in the Unreal Engine 5.8, they've introduced these new gizmos to move these MetaHumans around easily. And what I do is usually, because again, the data is going to be up in the air, I try to push my characters down a little bit before I start. That's why you see Beastie over here is in a little bit in the ground, because I know the motion capture data is going to be a little bit up at the top. Again, all of these are kinks that are going to be worked out down the road. Okay, so go to the clapperboard over here, drop down and add a level sequence. And then for me, I put it in my sequencer folder over here. We're going to go to vid mocap and we're going to call it, again, demo, but give it a name that can be easy to find. Okay, if you're searching for it. All right, so we've added our sequence over here. Now we need to add our characters to the sequencer. So we will start with Beastie, for example, over here. Select him. No, let's start with the MetaHuman, because that's the one that you probably gonna be using first, because you have, it's free. We're gonna drag and drop her onto the sequencer. Okay, now sometimes you may need to delete this, but in the Unreal Engine 5.8 they've added this feature where you can actually just mute the control rig and also mute it over here. So if it's not muted, if I press the G key, you can actually see the rig over there on the MetaHuman character. You can see her right here. But by the way, before you do that, let me first delete this Kira over here. Select her. Before you add her to the sequencer, make sure that you select the MetaHuman in the outliner over here. And then under the details panel over here, make sure you scroll down. So with the MetaHuman selected in the details panel, go ahead and click on the face. And then under the animation tab over here, make sure you click on use custom mode before you add this MetaHuman to the sequencer. And do the same thing for the body. Make sure it's set to custom mode. All right. And then when done, so just drag and drop the character onto the sequencer. And now we can mute the control rig and also mute the face control board over there. And now we can add the body animation and the face animation. So click on this plus sign, hover over it until it turns white, and then make sure that you own the first frame over here, and also add a number of frames. So I'm just going to add like maybe 9,000 to be on the safe side. And you can expand this all the way to the end. Something else that you need to make sure you do is make sure you set the frame rate to the frame rate that you're going to be using for the entire project and the videos. So if your videos were shot in 30 frames per second, please do that. If you're going to do this as a 24 frames per second film, then do that as well. Okay, so we're going to add the body animation, hover over it until it turns white, click on it, and then under animation over here, we're going to look for which is the female character. So it's going to be Beauty. I think it's this one. That's the, I didn't give it a right name, but that's the right name. It's important to give it a correct name so you can remember it. So when I play back, you can see the clapping. That's going to be helping me to line up with the audio. So we know the body is working. Then we can also go to the face. Again, hover over it until it turns white. Make sure you own the first frame. Okay, hover over it, click plus, and then go to animation and use the same animation that you picked up over there, which is this one. So you can actually see the names matching up. So the facial animation has been added. So if I play this back, right? Okay, the video, if I go to the video that I shot of this particular character, and that one is gonna be Beauty over here. So I'm gonna open this up, and you can actually see, and I usually say this is the part for the name of the character for me to remember. And if you play back the video over here, there we go. So we can add an audio file to this. Now, the thing I did, and this is the reason why I wanted to point this out, is that I trimmed the audio, which wasn't a good idea, because when you trim the audio and the mockup during the processing, this is the issue that you're gonna encounter. When I add the audio to Kira over here, I'm gonna go plus, add an audio track, and then I'm gonna say Beauty rather, and that is Beauty. This is the one that I recorded, and then the new one is I use 11 Labs to change the sound to a female. Okay, so you're gonna see that the clapper, which is supposed to line up with the hands clapping, might not line up properly. So you can actually see it's already ahead. So this is where you need to line up. So look for the hands, the clap, the first clap. So this is the first clap, second clap, and third clap. So the first clap right here, you need to drag this audio until you get to the first clap right there. Had I not trimmed the mockup data before processing, this would have lined up perfectly. Okay, and I'll show you that data again. So and then the character will start talking. That's how you're able to add the animation to the character. You can see her over there talking. Let me first hide this character so we can see her. And it's talk. So the thing about this, I want to remind you that, guys, when you're recording this, there will be some parts that are not gonna capture if you just don't have a head-mounted camera rig. So for example, when the character is talking to the side like that, it's not gonna capture this, the talking. It will capture the facial animation with the blinks and the eyes and the smile, but it would not capture the lips properly. You need to be facing the camera like this for it to be able to track properly. But clearly you can see the data looking really good over there. There she is talking. So after I captured that, let me press G to get rid of the cameras, I was able to apply all the other data the same way to these characters, right? So remember that one clip that I was telling you about that I captured, but I didn't have to the visualization object. It's the same data that I was able to apply to this. And this one, because the character, I didn't have to trim it, it lines up perfectly. So the troll character, this character, by the way, when you look over here under the illusion, you can see that it supports MetaHuman Animator. That means that it can support the data that we were able to capture from the MetaHuman Animator motion capture plugin, the Markerless motion capture plugin. Okay, so I'm gonna drag and drop troll over here. Here's a real illusion character, and the same data that we're able to capture, you can actually be able to apply it to that. So here we have the character selected, right? Go rewind, and we're gonna add the same. You're gonna use the same approach. Mouse over it, go to animation, and we're gonna say this is Beastie alone. This is the Beastie. Okay, so there he is, and then use the same one for the face. Animation, Beastie alone, and you can see the animation has been added. And if I add the audio track here to the chat over here, go to audio track, audio, and then I say Beastie. So this is the one for Beastie, but also there's one that I changed the voice. I used 11 Labs, so it's the same audio file, but I just used 11 Labs to change to make it more. This is my voice, and this is the new voice from 11 Labs. So I'll select that one. Again, make sure you're on the first frame when you're adding this. And to test it, to make sure that it's lining up, if I go, and you can see the waveform over here, you will see it lining up. It's pa, pa, pa. There we go. So that's why it's important to not trim the motion capture data during the processing part of it. Let it just trim, like process from the beginning. You can trim the end, but the beginning is important because that's where you have usually the key for clapping or lining up the audio, whether using your hands or you're using an actual clapper. And so guys, that's how you're able to add the facial animation to the characters and the full body using, again, this technology that was previously MESHCAPADE over here to be able to drive the MetaHuman characters and CC5 HD character creator files. And you can see, because these characters, again, they have to be CC5 HD characters to be able to support MetaHuman Animator. If it doesn't have this option right here, then this data will not be applied. But you can play different parts, guys. You can have characters from character creator, and this character actually was a DAZ Studio 3D model that was able to take to character creator and convert into CC5 HD with facial mocap support from MetaHuman Animator. And as you can see, it also supports the Markerless motion capture data on it, right? So that is what I want to show you guys, is that you can apply to MetaHuman, you can apply to a MetaHuman, a non-MetaHuman character, and you can also apply to a custom character, a custom MetaHuman. So let me pause over here. Let's bring in our character that is a custom one, and that's gonna be BP over here. So that's him. We're gonna make sure, again, when we select him, go to the details panel over here, under body, make sure it's set to custom mode, not blueprint. Same thing for the face, custom mode, not blueprint. But also under the LOD sync, make sure you add 0 and type 1 over there. Now that this character is selected, and I'm gonna add him to the sequencer over here. Let's mute this control rig. This control rig is muted, and let's mute this one as well. And then for the body, we're gonna go to add animation. Make sure, again, see how I almost messed up. Make sure you own the first frame. You're not way over here. All right, so go to the body and then add animation, and go to animation, and this is gonna be again main, because that is me talking. So main solo over here, let's just do main solo 2, the one that you saw with the demo. So we're just going to say main solo is the one that I'm using. You can see it over here. So that's for the body. Same thing, we're going to apply to the face. Main solo, animation, main solo, add that, and also the audio. So we're going to go to the BP over here, click audio, and we're going to look for main. Okay, and it's going to be this one right here. So this voice I didn't change, so it's going to be the same voice as me. All right, and again, because I didn't trim that data, when I go back and you see 1, 2, 3, so you can actually see the clappers lined up over there. So there's the animation on all 3 characters, using the same approach, using the MetaHuman Markerless motion capture plugin to apply that, right? That is cool. Like, you can make so many cool films, guys. I can't wait to see what you guys make with this technology. All right, now that we have the motion capture data, let's look at fixing some of this data. So we'll do the MetaHuman first, and I think this one we can actually mute the track. You can actually go over here and deactivate that track and deactivate that track as well. And we can also turn off the character for Manfred and also this one over here. Okay, let's focus on our female character over here, Beauty and the Beast. Okay, so one thing that you notice again is that the interpenetration over here, we can fix that. We'll start at the beginning and see where we need to fix. So this is the clapper, and then already right there, right? So usually the way I work out on this, I try to go to a point where I know I'm gonna be trimming that right there before all the dialogue begins. Okay, so with Kira selected, I'm gonna go over to the animation over here for the body, and I'm gonna select the body, and I'm gonna right click, and we're gonna bake to control rig over here, and we're gonna bake to the MetaHuman control rig. Okay, so MetaHuman, and you can actually see the path. Wherever you look, you can see the path. Okay, so MetaHuman control rig, that's the one we need. And then create. Now, what I should have done was probably trim a little bit of it, so we're not taking forever to do that, because 6,000 frames is a long way for you to like bake onto the body. For the purposes of just testing, let me actually see if I can cancel that. I hope it doesn't crash on me. Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna go from here. Let's go back. Let me see if I can actually undo back to control rig. Yes. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna trim this, right? We'll start off like right here, and we're gonna click this as the end. So we're gonna only do these number of frames over here. So we're gonna go to the body again, on Kira's body over here, right click. We're gonna bake control rig to MetaHuman control rig, and then bake. Okay, so there are the keys. And so now that the keys are there, there's a control rig that has been added. Like, let's go back. So this control rig right here, and when I press the G key, you can actually see it's right there. So in order to edit that mockup, and you can see where it's interpenetrating like around here, we're going to add an additive layer over here. So under MetaHuman Control Rig, click Add an Additive Layer, and it's going to be another control rig on top, and we're going to enable this key, create key, whenever a body is moved. So make sure this is enabled, and then we're going to start working as this is a keyframe animation really. So like right here, I'm going to key, so I'm going to rotate the over here. Just press E to rotate, and just a tiny bit. And also we're gonna enable this one, key all. And so let's turn off the grid, the snapping for that one, so we can actually have like a smoother transition over there. And we're going to do the same thing over here, move the character over a little bit. So when we play back, you see the hands are further away. So that's how you clean up the mocap. And actually, let me go back to the very top of this. So this control rig, so this is the one that the additive layer that we've added. If I disable it, you can actually see the difference, how the hands are interpenetrating like right there. But if I bring it back, you can see how I was able to fix that. So that's how you clean up the motion capture data. Even the hands and all of that, you can use the same approach, so the character doesn't have the interpenetration of the mesh. That's just a quick insight on how you're able to clean up the motion capture data using Bake to Control Rig. And same thing with the face, right? You can select the face and bake the animation. So you go to the face over here, select the face, and right click on it, Bake to Control Rig, and you want to bake to the face control rig board and create. And you'll see it baking all the keys to the face control board, and the face control board will show up as well. Okay, so there it is over there. And once it's added, then you can go in here, do the same thing, add an additive layer. And now you'll be able to go in and start editing. So if the character is not like that, for example, you can zoom in, and then you can use these controls over here to make the character maybe close a little bit more. So you can use the control board to refine the facial animation. Let me press G to hide all of that, and be able to edit the motion capture data so that there's no interpenetration, guys. So I hope that was helpful, guys. And one thing that I also encourage you to use is the Black Eye plugin. This is an amazing plugin that enables you to create amazing camera movement for the characters, just as you see in the beginning. And let me open this other sequence over here and play back, and we can actually bring back all our characters, our stars, Manfred Ranger, and also the troll, and press play, and you can see really cool. Yeah, so guys, I hope this was helpful. It's really an amazing day for us as indie filmmakers to be able to create short films without the need of a motion capture suit, to be able to walk around, play out different parts, just like Beastie over here. And what's your name? Okay, so she's a MetaHuman. He's not a MetaHuman. This one is a character from Character Creator. You're a character from Character Creator who is able to use this motion capture data on this character together with the face. And as you can see him, yeah. So that's what's amazing, is that any data that you're able to capture with this setup without a motion capture suit, without gloves, without a head-mounted camera rig, can be applied to character creator files that you're able to bring in. And Beastie here used to be a DAZ 3D character, and I was able to outfit him with that whole outfit that you see right there. Look like a sci-fi guy over here. And I keep forgetting your name. What's your name again? Beauty. So I was thinking about Beauty and the Beast. Yes. You can see there's a film idea coming up, you know, so I'm working on another short film using this whole setup so I can show you how you yourselves can make a short film using this whole thing. So thank you so much for joining me, guys. This is an amazing day. I thank you for all your feedback. You know, this is the era of AI. And at Unreal Fest Chicago, they talked about so many cool things that are coming to the Unreal Engine 5.8. But what is really cool is that being able to tell our own stories using original IP, or if you're not an artist, you can still start with a MetaHuman like Beauty over here, or character like Beastie over here, and then make yourself a character that you can use in your story, right? So thank you so much again, guys, for joining me today. I'm always praying for you. Please, whatever you do, do not give up on your dream. I am counting on you not to give up on your dream. And as I always tell you guys, that we were all created for a purpose, and God put in us so many cool talents, and I trust that God has put something in you as well. So as always, stay safe, much love, and please go make that film. Now that all these tools are available for free, you don't have to pay online fees to like those AI platforms. You can do that if you want, but what I want to point out is that this setup is free. You can do it on your computer, you can do it at home, locally. You don't have to upload anything online, except of course when you're making the MetaHuman character, you need to have an internet connection, because there's the system or the server that these characters connect to prepare the DNA, to prepare the rigs, requires an internet connection. But what an amazing time to be alive, guys. Isn't that cool? All right, Beastie, say bye to them.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to miss it. It's coming out. It's going to be a short film. It's going to be a sci-fi short film with Beauty and the Beast and this guy right here. Yes. All right. See you next video, guys. Bye for now.
Beauty and the Beast. What an amazing time to be alive. Bye for now, guys. If you're new to my channel, do not please... What am I saying? If you're new to my channel, do please spare a minute to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're alerted when I post a new video. And I really want to hear from you guys. I put out a poll on if you wanted to see more Unreal Engine filmmaking content, or you wanted me to mix it up with some AI filmmaking content, because I am a curious storyteller, and I'm always looking for ways that we can tell our stories. And when I find something that is really a good process that I've tested, then I want to share it with you guys. So thank you so much for joining me today. Bye for now, and see you in the next video.